The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. The Prime Minister says government has taken the initiative to introduce one law for one country. The total COVID recoveries surpass 50,000. MP Sarath Fonseka appointed as the chairman of Samagi Jana Balawegaya. The Securities and Exchange Commission approves a set of guidelines for stockbrokers' firms on good practices. In foreign news, Australia suspends New Zealand travel bubble amid new virus strain. In sports news, England wins the Test series 2-0. Local stories in detail. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the government has initiated the national need to introduce one law for one country. He has pointed out that in order to prevent delays in laws and to solve disputes through efficient methods, a change in attitude should be effected by the judiciary, lawyers and the people, leaving outdated methodologies. The Prime Minister mentioned this after laying the foundation stone today for the new building complex of Adhikarana Piyasa in Hubsdop. Speaking further, he said that the government has presented a series of proposals before the people when it came to power to meet aspirations of the people. The Prime Minister said that the sovereignty is in the hands of the people. The government hopes to digitalize the entire judicial system, which will commence from next month. Construction of the court complex will be completed in 3 years with an investment of 16,500 million rupees. A total of 653 COVID-19 patients recovered and were discharged, surpassing the total recovery mark of 50,000. According to the epidemiology unit, the total COVID-19 recoveries stand at 50,337. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva said all necessary steps have been taken in respect of COVID-19 vaccination. Accordingly, vaccines will be given to frontline workers who are engaged in efforts to prevent the spread of the virus. The Securities and Exchange Commission has approved a set of guidelines for stockbroker firms on good practices at a meeting held on 13th of this month. The approved guidelines have been sent to the chief executive officers of stockbroker firms on 19th of this month. The firms will be required to adopt these guidelines with immediate effect. Under these guidelines, stockbroker firms have to ensure that the brokerage commissions applicable to registered investment advisors are at a maximum of 30% in order to maintain consistency within the industry. However, a grace period of 3 months has been given for the firms to implement the guidelines. The first working committee meeting of Samagi Jana Balawegaya was held today. MP Sajith Premadasa has been appointed as the party leader and Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka as the chairman of the party. Mr. Ranjit Madhuma Bandara is the general secretary of the party. Mr. Thisathanayaka has been appointed as the national organizer. Mr. Lakshman Kiriyalla has been appointed as the deputy chairman. Kabir Hashim, Imtiaz Baki Maka, Rajita Senaratna, Kumar Valgama and Ravindra Samaravira were appointed as senior deputy chairman. Dr. Harsha De Silva was appointed as the treasurer and Ajit P. Pereira as the chief executive. Veteran journalist Kalakirti Edwin Aryadasa bowed adieu to the nation today. His funeral was held this afternoon at General Cemetery in Borella under the state patronage. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Media Minister Keheli Rambukwella have sent condolence messages in connection with the funeral. The President, in his message, has appreciated the services rendered by late Mr. Edwin Aryadasa for a better media culture. The Prime Minister has commended the efforts of late Mr. Aryadasa taken to educate the people with new knowledge. The funeral was held according to the health guidelines. Religious observances were conducted by Venerable Kirinde Assajithero of Hunupitiya Ganga Rama Temple. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with the local stories, State Minister Dr. Sudarshani Fernandopulle says that an organized program should be put in place for the future security of elders. She said that the families should be encouraged to look after their elders. She mentioned this during a discussion at the Elders Secretariat in Batramulla. The State Minister pointed out the need to regulate institutions that look after senior citizens. 11,935 elders committees have been set up in the country. Only 2 elders' homes are under the Elders Secretariat at present. Colombo Chief Magistrate Mohammed Mihal ordered today to further remand 16 officers of the Police Anti-Narcotic Bureau who have been remanded for maintaining contacts with drug racketeers until the 2nd of next month. The Attorney General informed the court that the main suspect, named Udara Sampath, has left the country. The Colombo Chief Magistrate ordered to issue a red warrant through Interpol to arrest him. Police have begun a special environmental operation in the Western Province to apprehend those violating and disrespecting environmental laws, especially with regard to waste disposal. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana said that cases have been reported about litter and garbage being dumped in many places in the Western Province, especially in Colombo. Therefore, a special operation was initiated by the Environmental Police to apprehend polluters. DIG Ajit Rohana said yesterday that if a person has violated environmental laws, that person would be arrested and charged under the National Environmental Protection Act. The Commissioner General of Motor Traffic today announced that the services provided by the Anuradhapura District Office of the Department of Motor Traffic have been temporarily suspended due to the risk of COVID-19 virus. Commissioner General Sumit C.K. Alahakon said measures are being taken expeditiously to ensure the public hygiene in office premises, and the office may be open for the public soon. To end the local news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister says government has taken the initiative to introduce one law for one country. The total COVID recoveries surpass 50,000. MP Sarath Fonseca appointed as the chairman of Samagri Janabala Vegaya. The Securities and Exchange Commission approves a set of guidelines for stockbroker firms in good practices. That ends local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
On the main news story, police have arrested 12 persons for violating quarantine laws within the past 24 hours. Police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana said they have been arrested for not wearing face masks and failure to maintain social distance. The total number of individuals arrested since 30th October 2020 for violating quarantine laws is 2,746. Legal action has been taken against 2,600 of the arrested persons so far.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, the central bank said they have been talking with the US internet-based payment gateway provider PayPal Holdings for the launching of their services in Sri Lanka for almost 9 years without a breakthrough. While the authorities continue to follow through with current discussions with PayPal, the central bank said there are other international entities which provide a similar service which Sri Lanka could tap. That ends Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing.
the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. Australia suspends New Zealand travel bubble amid new virus strain. China takes new foreign investment top spot from the US. Japan is likely to hit COVID-19 herd immunity in October. Australia has suspended a travel bubble with New Zealand after its first COVID case in months was confirmed to be the South African variant. The infected patient had served 14 days in quarantine and tested negative twice before developing symptoms later. Travellers coming from New Zealand to Australia in the next 72 hours will now have to go through hotel quarantine. Health Minister Greg Hunt said the suspension was done out of an abundance of caution. According to UN figures released yesterday, China has overtaken the US as the world's top destination for new foreign direct investment. New investments into America from overseas companies fell by almost half last year, leading to the loss of its number one status. In contrast, UN figures show direct investment into Chinese firms climbed 4%, putting it number one globally. The top ranking shows China's growing influence on the world economic stage. Japan is likely to achieve herd immunity to COVID-19 through mass inoculations only months after the planned Tokyo Olympics, even though it has locked in the biggest quantity of vaccines in Asia. According to a London-based forecaster, that would be a blow to Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, who had pledged to have enough shots for the populace by the middle of 2021, as it trails most major economies in starting COVID-19 inoculations. To end the world news, the headlines again. Australia suspends New Zealand travel bubble amid new virus strain. China takes new foreign investment top spot from the US. Japan is likely to hit COVID-19 herd immunity in October. That ends World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
On development news, the Highways Ministry said Maganaguma Construction Equipment Company has now started a massive road development drive spending 40 billion rupees. The ministry said Maganaguma Company has already commenced the construction and rehabilitation of 5,000 roads across the country under the government's program of developing 100,000 kilometers of road network. On sports news, it's cricket, Formula One and putt shot. In cricket, England won the second test against Sri Lanka by 6 wickets in Galle today. Sri Lanka scored 381 in their first innings and 126 in their second innings. England scored 381 in their first innings and England won the match by scoring 164 for 4 wickets in their second innings. Lasith Tambul-Deniya took 10 wickets for Sri Lanka. Joe Root was adjudged as the man of the match and the man of this series. England won the Test series 2-0. Meanwhile, Jerem Jayaratne has been appointed as the team manager of Sri Lanka's tour in West Indies. He is also the Chief Operations Director of the Sri Lanka team. In Formula One news, former Formula One world champion Jenson Button will compete in the new Extreme E-Racing series for his own team. Button, 41, joins other high-profile names who have signed up for the Climate Aware series, including 7-time F1 world champion Lewis Hamilton. The new series, set to begin in April this year, will see a male and a female driver compete for each of the 10 teams in off-road electric e-SUVs. And in putt shot, Olympic shot put champion Ryan Crouser of the United States set a world indoor record of 22.82 meters at the American Track League Series opener in Fayetteville, AR. Yesterday, Crouser, who won the gold medal at the 2016 Rio Olympics, on his opening attempt bettered the 32-year-old mark of 22.66 meters set by American Randy Barnes in 1989. The 28-year-old also bettered the old world record on his third attempt with an effort of 22.70 meters. On business news, Ceylon Coal Stores had reported robust top and bottom line performances for the 3 months ended in December 2020 as the company managed to maintain its revenues intact despite the sporadic COVID-19 related lockdowns which impacted consumer spending. Ceylon Coal Stores, Sri Lanka's largest listed food and beverage entity by revenue and market value, reported revenues of 18.9 billion rupees for the October-December 2020 period, logging 6% year-on-year growth. That ends business news.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
On economic news, backed by the low interest rates regime and increased mobility following virus-related lockdowns, Sri Lanka's condominium sector made a marked recovery in the third quarter of last year, with the sale of condominium units reaching highest levels seen since first quarter of 2018, according to Central Bank's latest condominium property volume index released this month. That ends economic news.
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally, on the weather report, the Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the Sabaragamu province and in the Galle and Matra districts. Mainly fair weather will prevail over the parts of the island. Misty conditions can be expected at western, central and Sabaragamu provinces in the morning. To conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister says government has taken the initiative to introduce one law for one country. The total COVID recovery surpassed 50,000. MP Sarath Fonseca appointed as the chairman of Samagi Janabala Vegaya. The Securities and Exchange Commission approves a set of guidelines for stockbroker firms on good practices. In foreign news, Australia suspends New Zealand travel bubble amid new virus strain. And in sports, England wins the Test series 2-0. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.